So, the Great Reset. Yeah, this is actually, I stumbled across this in Australia. So, the Great Reset's a crazy kooky stuff which aims for no private property by 2030. Yeah, if you can, just smash the like button. Any questions you've got about anything going on in the market, I'm happy to answer. In other words, worldwide, we're going to have one government, and this is a conspiracy theory, by the way, one government, and there's not going to be any private ownership because private individuals can't possibly, manage property better than governments can, which is just, when I heard that, I had to laugh because that is absolute rubbish for a start. But the thing is, it's getting lots of YouTube views. It's getting lots and lots of things. I mean, one of the things, the reason I'm putting the Great Reset in here today is because I want to see when I put it on, whether you get all these conspiracy theorists coming onto my channel and saying you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about. It is a big, it is going to happen, and they are doing this, and the UN and the Davos, crew, they're all behind it. I just don't see it. And interestingly, when we fact check it, yeah, we rate this as fault because it's not supported by our research. The claim suggests the UN's Agenda 21, so that's the Agenda 21, which is, and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. So we'll look at that one today. We'll establish one world government. Yeah, it's not going to. It also talks about, no private ownership and these sort of things. And I think the key here is forget this. This is rubbish. Actually, it's quite exciting to see the UN, and I've actually started reading the report. I haven't got all the way through it. But it is pretty exciting to see what they're doing. And I do love that, actually. There's a lot of good stuff happening. If you haven't read a book called, you know what? I've forgotten the bloody book. I'll put it in the description when I think, Factfulness. It's a fantastic book because what it shows you is what the media is saying about stuff and what the reality of the statistics are. And I think when we have a look at these sustainable development goals in a sec, you're going to see that there's some pretty lofty goals. And, are we doing them? Well, we'll have a look at that too. So this is the 17 goals to transform our world. And this is all, this Great Reset is the theory behind that. Actually, let me just come back on. The Great Reset, the theory behind that is that in Davos, they're going to be talking, it's the theme for Davos this year. And actually not in Davos, but it doesn't matter. It's the same thing, the World Economic Forum. And effectively, it's about taking this opportunity, this once in a lifetime opportunity to reset everything. Yeah, put it all on the table and reset it all. And I love that concept because as a business and as individuals and as that, we go through periods where we get a bit of a knock across the head, knocks us down, and we're going to get back up and we rebuild ourselves stronger. Yeah, we don't have to attach ourselves to what was. We can actually go and look at what is. And I think that is the key here, and I think that's the exciting bit. So for me, it's. Maybe I sound too optimistic, and maybe I'm too excitable and that sort of stuff. And but actually things are bloody good, and there's lots of good going on in the world. And I think if you filter out the BS and crap, that actually you get to the really good stuff. And there is a lot of good stuff happening in the world. And I think the trick is if you focus on the negative, that's what you're going to get. If you focus on the good stuff, you're going to get more of the good stuff, and actually your life will start getting better. And I think that's great. I mean, look, guys, shout out if you're listening. Shout out and tell me if you agree, because I'd love to have a bit of a conversation about that. Because is it just me being ridiculous, or So I think it's one of these things where these sustainable development goals, no poverty, zero hunger, you've got good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below the water, life on land, justice, peace and strong institutions and partnerships for the goals. And underneath each of those is a whole heap, a subset of tasks that need to be completed. And actually, when you're reading, it's pretty exciting, But yeah, guys, thank you very much and appreciate your time. And we'll see you next week. Anything else you've got, send through to the webinars or check out the website, gladfish.com. And we'll see you next week. Thank you very much. All right, see you guys. Bye.